Welcome in everybody to a Wednesday night edition of the show. Joe Quills here with you, and fun day off here. Well, not really that much fun. I had to go to the doctor this afternoon, but nothing major, nothing really going wrong with me. Just the checkup crap that you have to do from time to time, but gotta do it. But it is what it is. When you're getting to be my age, you have more checkups than you have anywhere else. But anyway, so we got a lot to talk about here. We still got some football stories here that are still piling in here. We'll get to them coming up here. Welcome to everybody watching on X, on my Twitch, and both on my YouTube and the Bleacher Brothers. I'm sorry, the in the Bleachers YouTube. Forgot I'm on that one. But anyways, we're here tonight. Gonna have some fun here as usual. Bring up some interesting topics that came up here over the last 24 hours, and anything else that comes up. So feel free to chime in, especially if you're on X. I will see your. I should be able to see your comments. The comments come in. It's just that I can't spam back or promote back to you guys. So, but you know, relax, have some fun, relax in your chair, your couch, whatever, and let's talk some sports here. So, welcome into the show, JST. Uh, I mean, I try to figure out the name, but welcome in. Tell us where you're from, favorite teams, anything like that. We're chill. Uh, Occasionally do get stuff there, but my name is Joe Quills. I'm with Bleacher Brothers. I host this show, the Joe Quills Show, Monday through Thursday. Usually start around 9 o'clock. Oh, Chiefs fan. Mike's awake, and we got a Chiefs fan, and I do apologize um, that Taylor Swift booed completely, got booed by all the Eagles fans, but I mean, there's something about that. We're going to get to that in a little bit as well. Um, so I'm with Bleacher Brothers. I had this show, the Joe Quill Show, Monday through Thursday, starting at 9. When the Bleacher Brothers show was before me, he's not a fan of Taylor. Okay, then I take back my apology. Nah, I still apologize. Um, but I'm with Bleacher Brothers. I have this show Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes when the Bleacher Brothers show is before me, because I do some moderating on their Twitch before I do the show. Sometimes we start off a little late here. So, and I also have a Saturday show called Also Eligible, and that is Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, and we talk horse racing, the upcoming races of the day, the top races, stuff like that. This time of the year, we focus on the Triple Crown, the road to the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. This Saturday, we will be looking at the fairgrounds in New Orleans. We'll be looking at a couple of races there that have major implications on who will be in the gate for the Oaks and the Derby. So, just want to tell you that as well. And I also write articles for Bleacher Brothers as well. I write mostly horse racing articles. Have not had a winner the last couple of days. I suck, I know. But at least I don't suck like the Dallas Cowboys or the New York Giants. So, um, so I did see this today, um, and I even passed by the airplane crash site that was not far from me today. Um, I had to stop at Target on the way home, and I was like, oh, I'm in the area. Um, Brendan, welcome in. Hope you're doing well out there. Um, yeah, I, I didn't go close enough though because I figure, because you see like the Philadelphia police cars, um, and I can answer that in a question, JST. I can answer that in a second. Um, the I didn't want to get too close to it because the operations management of the city of Philadelphia is still there. The Philadelphia police is there. I think maybe um, maybe the NTSB may still be doing a scene there. So I wasn't really wanting to see like the big crater in the ground near where that was, and it crashed in the sidewalk and everything like that. But I did pass by today, and they're still working on get everything back to normal. Finger quotes on the normal, because it's never going to be the same. There was numerous fires in houses across the street from there, and um, you know, anytime something like that happens, you hope for zero lives lost. And you know, you had 6 lives that are lost. Well, seven, including the person on the ground. And I'll get to that story about AJ Brown in a second. But now, question was asked: what would you do if you were the Chiefs in the offseason? Um, I think the first question you have to ask is Travis Kelsey coming back? Now, I think it sounds like he's done. And I only say that because it was basically the same tone as Jason Kelsey last offseason. So I'm thinking that's hit. I think that's what's happening. I think uh, did I see that DeAndre Hopkins was retiring as well? Uh, okay, so he says he's not retiring on X, and then he deletes it. Um, so I mean, I think what you need is you need um, probably another wide receiver threat. Um, I think you need to feel like you need to do something like that. Yeah, yeah. You need a new you need some offensive line help. I mean, for a few years when Andy Reid was here in Philly, he would get an offensive lineman, and he would offensive lineman or defensive lineman, and he would grow the team from the defensive line, offensive lines out. You do need help with the offensive line. Um, I mean, offensive coordinator, yeah. Um, I just think that will this loss have a hangover for them because of the fact that this wasn't just this wasn't just a close game that they lost. I mean, even for 18 points, it seemed like it was a 40-point loss. And you're um, probably need to start transitioning offensive linemen, um, maybe another wide receiver. Um, I think you got a good running back, Pacheco. You know, I think you're fine in terms of the defense. Uh, Rashi Rice will be back, yeah. Um, yeah, and I'm just spitballing here with ideas here because the great thing is free agency will be in about a month. You'll we'll quickly see what they're going to target in the draft because of the fact that do they go for do they go for the why do they go offensive line? Do they go wide receiver? Are they targeting something else? Because the most important thing is we need to see what the salary cap's going to be. And I don't think the salary cap has been announced, but if it has, I apologize. Um, I just think that I think that you need to see. Let me just see right now. Um, Looks like the Chiefs have about 11 million if I'm reading this right here. Uh, it says they have 11 million in cap space. Um, they don't have much in the way of dead money, so that's good. Um, the Eagles have 19 million to play with. Um, but the wide receiver, but the Noah Gray may be somebody who steps up and takes over for him if Kelsey does retire. Um, that's always a possibility because I think he did have a couple of good games last year. Um, uh, Noah Gray had 40 receptions for 437, 10.9 yards, 5 touchdowns. So not bad. Um, I mean, he's already been in the league 4 years. So, uh, and Worthy should be wide receiver one, no doubt about it. But Noah Gray, if he, I don't, I mean, I don't know who's free agents or anything like that. Um, Noah Gray could do some work. Um, yeah, Worthy had 157 yards, but um, he had 157 yards and 2 touchdowns, but a lot of it was in garbage time. I mean, it's great if I mean that's a great line for fantasy football in the regular season. It's also great for daily fantasy, but you know, I mean, the numbers look good, but when you look at the whole scope of the game, it really didn't. It just seems like they're overinflated numbers. I think that was the only. I think it was the only wide receiver that got anything. Yeah, Travis Kelsey had 4 catches for 39. He was the second. I mean, everybody was contained. Nobody ran the ball well against the Eagles. Nobody caught the ball that much. Um, you saw what the Eagles defense did. 6 sacks. Um, a lot of those stats were a lot of those stats that some of the players had, like Mahomes with his passing, Worthy with his receiving yards and touchdowns, were pretty much in garbage time. So I would definitely, I would definitely say that it is a, um, yeah. Barkley was contained. I guarantee you, with the way that the Eagles trended most of the year, and me being an Eagles fan, I got to see every game. And if you saw that, if you had seen that, let me pull that box score back up here. If you had seen that Saquon Barkley would have 25 carries for 57 yards, a 2.3 yards per carry average. Now, he did have 6 catches for 40 yards as well, but nowhere near what you termed normal for Saquon in the regular season and even the earlier rounds of the playoffs. If you saw that, you're thinking, we got a shot here. But the Eagles had some key plays. You had um, Cooper DeJean's touchdown, pick six. You had 6 sacks. You had Zach Bond with an unbelievable catch on the interception when Kansas City was trapped inside their own 5 or 10 yard line. So, um, so I mean, what and like Mike says here, um, his presence made the difference. Yeah, because they were so adamant on stopping the run or stopping Barkley because they didn't stop Jalen Hurts because he had 71 yards rushing or 72. I'm sorry, 221 passing, 72 rushing. Devontae Smith had a touchdown pass. AJ Brown had a touchdown reception. Um, Jalen Hurts had a tush push touchdown, um, or brotherly shove, or the the Heine over the liney play. I saw that on Facebook today. I thought that was funny. Heine over the liney. Yeah, and I was expecting a much closer game. Now, granted, I did say last. It might have been said last Thursday on last Thursday's show. I might have said it on Saturday. Whack in the crack. No, that's what happens in prison. Ask um, God, what's I forget that movie guy's name. Damn it. Or even Ask Diddy. Whack in the crack. Uh, but anyways, I said leading up to the game on Saturday, and I might have said it to other people as well. Um, Pat said, "How do you know?" Well, I've heard things, Mike, because I had this new tattoo on my ass. It says "Exit Only," and the other cheek says "Do Not Enter." But um, but I was getting the feeling later on, as the game got closer, and I don't know why, and I had no feeling about this. I had nothing that goes with it. And the one thing Mike will tell you is my gut feelings a lot of times are dead on, especially when it comes to horse racing. When I have a 50 to 1 shot that wins, and his wife asks, "Why didn't you play?" He moves too fast. But I had a feeling. I might have said it on Thursday. Um, I might have said it on Saturday. I might have said it to friends. I might have said it in chat to somebody. I don't remember. But whoever I said it to, I said, I'm getting the feeling of Bucks and Chiefs for Sunday. And the whole Super Bowl 55 thing with um, the way that the Bucks just shut down the Chiefs, and also, ironically enough, the um, the defensive scheme that they ran now wasn't exactly the same, I don't think, but just the fact that the Eagles did not blitz one time and they got 6 sacks in that game, it just shows how dialed in that defense was. Um, I mentioned it to Mike. Okay, yeah, I probably mentioned it to Mike on Sunday, or or whatever, whenever it was, because I was just like, I just got this feeling, and my and even my I hear my phone buzzing. There it is. Um, but it's but but the thing is, the parade here in Philly, if the weather was not going to be bad last night and tonight, you probably could have had it today, but you didn't, because you're using the resources to clean the roads, which is more important. Could have had it tomorrow, but weather's going to be crappy again tomorrow. The only good day was for Friday. So the parade's going to be on Friday. Um, but, you know, I just, for the most part, I was like, well, I feel good about this game, but I had that one guy on Sunday who said that my football takes were horrible. Well, whatever. But I just feel like that game, even for an 18-point game, even 18 points does not indicate how much of a blowout that was. And it had the feels of 4 years ago when the Chiefs lost at Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, which, you know, um, I'm sure a lot of people were surprised about. And, even Vegas was a bit surprised because, well, Nevada, because as I mentioned last night, Nevada made all kinds of money. They made like $20 million on the game, but it was mostly because of Saquon Barkley, because everybody had him for a touchdown, had him for rushing yards, stuff like that. But they didn't have him for, um, and probably even for MVP. But it was such a. I mean, I said this on the as soon as the Saturday night, as soon as the AFC championship, or actually after the NFC championship game was over, and I was watching it with a couple of friends, and I said, Eagles should be a 4 or 5 point favorite. And when they said Kansas City opened up, when I saw Kansas City opened up a 1.5 favorite, I'm like, are you kidding me? But I just really feel like that this, you know, Kansas City's in a transition period here, because you got to have the well. First thing you need is you have to have a guy who knows how to manipulate the salary cap. Eagles have that with Howie Roseman. You have to figure out what you're going to do with everything, and get everybody under the cap. Um, it may be that now this may be the case. It may not be the case. You may have an opportunity. Let me rephrase that. it may be the case, it may not be the case that the the Chiefs may try to renegotiate Patrick Mahomes' contract again. Now, the way that but the thing is, it was in a past collective bargaining agreement. I think it may transfer to the next one. I believe that you can only you you can't do it more than once a year. So let's say they did it last July. You can't do anything until next July. So, and forgive me, my nose is itching like crazy here. So, but I think the Chiefs do have some work in the offseason, offensive line. I would I would consider another wide receiver. Um, and the thing is, you can probably find it in the you can probably find it on the in the draft because you know what they're going to make in those first 4 years, and especially if it's a lower pick. The salary is a lot less, and you have a rookie salary cap and all that as well. So um, Kansas City may be taking a step back, but you may see the magic of Andy Reid because he had quite a few years here in Philadelphia where he had zero weapons for Donovan McNabb, and he made four NFC Championship games in a row. They finally got a weapon for him in To, who got them to the Super Bowl. Then To went batshit crazy the following year because I outplayed my contract. You got 4 years on your contract left. I outplayed it. So he got himself out of Philly. Him and Donovan McNabb didn't get along, but I don't think you're going to see 15-2 or a 15-1 start. But you may see some sort of a um, you may see some sort of a coming back to earth season for them in terms of the division because they won their division by they won their division by 4 games over the Chargers. So you won by 4. Denver was 5 back. Vegas was 11 back. So the one thing I mean, and it, you know, 15-2, and you had one game that didn't matter. So it's 15-2 asterisk because they had nothing to play for and they were making sure everybody was ready to go. But you got a team there. As long as Patrick Mahomes is there, you got a shot. It's just that you got to make sure you protect him as much as possible, and also figure out what you're going to do when you have a scheme just like the Eagles did. Because guess what? The NFL is a copycat league, and though other teams around the league may not have the talent to successfully run that Eagles scheme, you do have to you do have to um, figure out how to beat that and see what you have to do in order to win the game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kansas City um, next season and this off season when the new football season comes into play. Um, when the new NFL season, the new NFL year, excuse me, be interesting to see when what happens with that. So, and just let you know, even if you're watching on X, feel free to chime in. You know, or if you have if you want to comment, because some people say I have horrible takes on football. Some takes are horrible, but some takes are half decent, and some are great. You know, I'm not going to hit 100%, but if I can hit a couple of great points every now and then, hey, so be it. But thank you for that question, and also the compliment about the fact that we deserved it. And, Kansas City deserved to be there. Um, they just didn't know what hit them. Basically, I mean, once that first drive was over in the second half, and they um, turned it over on downs, it was game over. But you know, Kansas City closest thing to a dynasty in the last 10 years, if you ask me. But now it's time to see if they can bounce back. So now, to the victors go the spoils, and the one thing is that we had that horrific plane crash not far from me, about a mile away. Um, Somehow, I did not hear the plane at all when it flew directly over my apartment. Well, actually, the apartment next door, but since it's two buildings right next to each other, um, you know, it, you can say it flew over my apartment. I don't care. I think it's fairly accurate, even though the next building isn't that far away from me. So it wasn't that far away. Um, and this one kid, trying to see if they have. I'm trying to see if they have his name on here, but if I can't find a name in a random search here, um, because I don't. I mean, I'm just looking at a couple of the screenshots here, and AJ Brown on X said, "My hero." Um, so he made a promise after the. Here it is. The kid's name is Andre Trey Howard. Trey Howard III. Um, um, Trey was hospitalized with severe head injuries suffered during the Northeast Philadelphia plane crash. Basically, he was shielding his sister from um, the shrapnel, that was flying around after the plane crashed, and who knows what else was flying around, concrete, you know, stuff like that. So AJ Brown said that he was going to visit the kid after the Super Bowl. Um, AJ Brown said that he would make a special visit to the kid who was injured in that he had severe head injuries in that crash. Um, on Wednesday, earlier today, I should say, Brown kept his word, making a visit to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Um, Brown came bearing gifts and even surprised the real life superhero with a call from Saquon Barkley. Andre's mother, LaShawn Lala Hemil, posted photos of Brown and Andre together from his hospital room on his Facebook page, on her Facebook page. Um, these were the pictures that I see on this article, which are probably um, the Facebook photos, but they were posted on AJ Brown's X and on the NFL X. Um, let me go here. There we go. So AJ Brown says in his tweet, "Speedy recovery. You are a hero, young man. I'm going to." Okay, this is beforehand with the picture of the meeting. I'm going to come see you when I get back. Hopefully, with some hardware playing for you on Sunday, my man. And then um, this was the Facebook post. Um, Dear AJ Brown, thank you. Thank you for being a man of your word. By great surprise on this day, my son was beyond grateful to meet you. Caught us all by surprise. For someone, my son who usually talks so much, you had him smiling from ear to ear and mute. I felt his heart pounding through his chest, the amount of love and support you gave, being so patient and calling Saquon Barkley for him was beyond appreciated. Thank you for everything and bringing that win home for Trey and the world's greatest superhero. From my family to yours, I so humbly want to say thank you and we love you and hope and want nothing but the best for you for yours. So, that and the thing is, he didn't have to do that, and he was a man of his word. He went there, and I don't know if cameras were there or anything like that. And I think I haven't watched the news, so I haven't seen anything going on and anything like that. So, um, like for example, and I'm going to bring this name up, and you're going to say apples and oranges, Joe, apples and oranges. When Michael Vick signed here in Philadelphia after he got out of prison and did all that, um, he went to schools telling the kids about the dangers of dogfighting. Now, the one thing he made sure was that cameras were not there, because if you have cameras around and you have cameras following you, it just shows that it's a publicity stunt. This was not a publicity stunt by AJ Brown. Obviously, he had to find out what hospital the kid was at and stuff like that. And, I'm sure the team was in contact with the city, or however they kept they had the information there because of everything that went on with the crash and everything. um, you know he actually did everything. He didn't have to. um, he didn't have to do that, but when he said he'd do that, and then on top of that, backed up his words and actually showed up, like Mike said, class act. You know, and I'm sure he would have shown up even after a loss. But what he did was a class act. Um, and also he had the Lombardi Trophy with him because, oh, by the way, uh, you know, Eagles won. Um, so Howard could be seen wearing a Kelly Green Brown jersey, an Eagles chain, and a Super Bowl 59 championship hat as they posed with the Lombardi Trophy in front of a table full of Eagles gear. Um, when he woke up, when he woke up in the hospital after the plane crash, and I think this was a couple of days later, um, he had two questions: did he save his sister, and did he miss the Super Bowl? Now he did save his sister, but he did not miss the Super Bowl. He watched it from his room at CHOP on Sunday, and his story inspired several Eagles, including Brown, who said he would play for Howard on Sunday. Um, last week when he first heard about what he said. AJ Brown said, "Speedy recovery. You are a hero, young man. I'm going to come see you when I get back, hopefully with some hardware. Playing for you on Sunday, my man." So, um, um, not only did Brown and the Eagles win, Brown caught that crucial first half touchdown pass after Zach Bond's interception. That helped put the game out of reach for the Chiefs. Um, During Brown's touchdown in the Superdome, Trey's mother, Hamil, was back on the was back in Philadelphia recording a video of the play while screaming, "This one's for Andre. Let's go, Andre!" Um, and the great part here is he may not be able to attend the parade on Friday, but he was able to celebrate the Eagles win on Wednesday, surrounded by his family, the Lombardi Trophy, and Brown himself. And you know, and that is definitely something you want to see. Now, Charles Barkley once said, I'm not a role model." Um, but when you think about what Charles Barkley said many years ago, he was saying parents, other family members, teachers, they're the real role models. And you know, AJ Brown didn't have to do that, but guess what? He did. He's a man of his word, and maybe you know if he feels it, if you asked him he was a role model, he probably would say, "I'm just me." Or he may say he is a role model, but not because of what he does on the field, but just because of that. I mean, that alone, though this will be forgotten by most people outside of the Eagles organization, outside the kid's family, I guarantee you a lot of people are going to forget about this. But even though we're talking about almost a year away from the next Super Bowl, that's Walter Payton Man of the Year type stuff that he did. And, and like Mike said, that was a class act by A.J. Brown because he didn't have to do it. And then he got Saquon on the phone because Saquon was in New York. And I got a story about that coming up next. He was in New York doing media. He was on the Tonight Show last night with Jimmy Fallon, him and Jalen Hurts. Saquon was in New York today because he was on Howard Stern's show on Sirius XM. So, um, he, AJ Brown gets it, and you know, you do appreciate what he does, and that's you can complain about the Eagles fans and how obnoxious they are, but you know what? We can stand by this guy for everything he's done just in the last 2 weeks, let alone, I mean, just off the field with saying what he was going to do and did it. But, you can also go with the on the field stuff, but off the field, hey, you see what he did. So good for AJ Brown. And, hopefully that kid recovers and, is able to live a long life there. So now I mentioned Saquon Barkley, and he was on the Tonight Show last night. Also, the Eagles' offensive line was on there with Jalen Hurts as well because it was billed as Jalen and Saquon, but the offensive line was there as well, and they were shotgunning beers at the end of the segment. and the offensive line came out with Eagles overalls, which are probably the latest thing that Eagles fans are buying left and right now. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he was on there, and I guess he stayed in New York. I imagine, I imagine Jalen Hurts came back, and Saquon Barkley said he didn't understand why fans booed pop star Taylor Swift when he was shown on the video boards at the Caesars Superdome during Super Bowl 59. Well, Donald Trump, he was at the game. He said MAGA didn't like her. Well, it had nothing to do with MAGA. It had to do with the fact that it was probably Eagles fans, and they do mention in the article here in a second. They did mention that it probably was Eagles fans. Now, Barkley said on the Howard Stern show today, I remember when they showed her on the Jumbotron and she got booed. I don't get it. I don't get why she's getting hate there. Well, I think even if you take the Eagles fans out of it, I'm sure there were some fans that were booing her because they're just sick of seeing her at every Chiefs game. And because she's aligned with the Chiefs because of Travis Kelsey. Okay, I get it. But um, now Barkley's response was came after he was asked if he thought Swift and her boyfriend, Kansas City tight end Travis Kelsey, would get engaged. He didn't have an opinion on that question, but unprompted came to the defense of Swift. He credited Smith with helping grow the popularity of the NFL. Yeah, but you know what? When Travis Kelsey retires, there's a distinct possibility. Pat said I had a good point. That's a rarity. No, I'm not kidding. Um, I don't know what the good point was about, but yeah, I missed it. So I missed it coming right up. So um, but I just think with all the Wifties, as I call them, that terror organization I call them because they totally went after C.J. Gardner Johnson's mother's business, putting all these fake reviews in. Um, I think what's going to happen is all the Wifties, as I'm calling them, they are probably going to stop watching football because one, no Travis Kelsey, which means two, no Taylor Swift at the games. So if he's not playing and she's not going to the games, which, she's only going to the games to support Travis, you're going to see those ratings tank, especially Kansas City games. Or so I think. Um, Barkley said she was there supporting her significant other, and she's made the game bigger. In football, we're all about how can we expand the game and make it more international. Barkley said we're traveling to Brazil, we're traveling to Mexico, apparently we're traveling to Australia soon. We're trying to expand the game, and her being a part of it is only helping it. I don't get the dislike she's getting. And yes, Brendan, we did win. Um, and my championship hat and shirt should be here tomorrow, I think, maybe Friday. Hopefully before the parade. But yeah, I'll be here working at home. So, but um, So now Swift grew up near Philadelphia. She was Berks County. I don't necessarily think Reading itself, but somewhere in that Berks County area. Um, she now roots for the Chiefs and Kelsey, but I think I think she was an Eagles fan, so that may that may change back a little bit. I don't know, but then again, because she's been behind the scenes with the Kansas City Chiefs, in the families and stuff like that, maybe she stays a Chiefs fan. Who cares? Um, she was booed, shown alongside rapper Ice Spice during the first quarter Sunday night. Okay, so even though they were looking more at Taylor Swift, maybe they're booing Ice Spice as well. I don't know. But most of it was aimed at Taylor Swift. And it was probably Eagles fans, which um, this article states, and I don't know who wrote this article, so I can't give them credit. Um, um, Now, Barkley, as we know, has been embraced by Eagles fans. I mean, we've even had the, you see the backwards jump that he had against Jacksonville. That's become a major thing with a lot of sales, like these small businesses who create Eagle shirts and stuff like that. Um, you said of the Eagles fans, they just shower you with love, and it's been pretty cool for me and my family because kind of how things ended in New York. There was always love and support there, but things didn't end off on a great note, I guess you could say. And to be able to come here and just the way how they've taken me in and my family in, and my daughter is a star here. They love my little daughter. It's been pretty cool. Yeah, she is cute, and she was doing all sorts of things with after the game with also at Barkley's birthday being Super Bowl this past Super Bowl Sunday. Um, and you know what? Even if even if Saquon Barkley goes to another team after this contract, I don't think the Eagles would let him. But let's pretend. And I think that if the Eagles and Barkley, and I'm not trying to start anything here, so don't clip this and start saying false stuff about me. With as long as things end up on good terms for both Eagles and Barkley, their separation, whatever reason, you're going to see Saquon Barkley with as much love as Nick Foles. Nick Foles brought the Eagles a Super Bowl. He beat the big bad Tom Brady and the Patriots. Saquon Barkley gave a year to remember, even with just the regular season. Even if he did play that final game and got the rushing record, that would have been enough that he would be among the pantheon of the greatest of the great when it comes to the Eagles. But just that alone. But you do have but he set an all-time record for regular and postseason. Um, and on top of that, you win a Super Bowl, and you're one of the major weapons on the team between Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goddard. You know, that core 4 or 5 people, and we could talk about the defensive guys as well. Um, Jalen Hurts is never going to pay for a meal again in Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni isn't either. Saquon Barkley probably isn't either. You got to see something that really was an amazing season. Even if the playoffs, even if the Eagles fizzled out in the playoffs, you still had a crazy year by Saquon Barkley, and he, and I understand what he's saying about Swift being booed and all that, and you know, I understand that. Um, so with the Eagles win, I mean, with any game, there's a winner and there's a loser. Unless the game ends at a tie, then everybody feels like they lost. Um, we are getting a replay, in my opinion, of what Jason Kelsey did last year, and that is Travis Kelsey. Um, on the New Heights podcast with him and his brother Jason, um, when asked about retirement, he said, "I'm going to take some time and figure it out. And I think I owe it to my teammates that if I do come back, it's going to be a wholehearted decision, and I'm not half-assing it, and I'm fully here for them." But you got to remember, Travis Kelsey's 35 years old, so he may have a couple of years left, possibly, but that drop off may hit next year. I mean, he still had 90 some catches this year because we were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs earlier tonight. Um, I really feel like that the it's going to be a decision he has to make. Uh, and he's got a month pretty much to figure out what he wants to do. And I want to see one thing here. Um, Now, I'm looking at Spot Track. Spot Track, I think that's pronounced SPOTRAC, spottrack.com. Um, he's got 1 year left on his contract. Um, he gets a roster bonus of 11.5 million on March 14th. He gets a roster bonus of $1 million on the 5th day of training camp. Uh, it says there's a potential out. I don't know if that's a. I don't know if that's an option year because it says Kelsey signed a 2 year, $34 million contract with the Chiefs, $17 million guaranteed, and an average annual salary of $17,125,000. In 25, you'll earn a base salary of $4.5 million, a roster bonus of $12.5 million, and a workout bonus of $250,000, while carrying a cap hit of $19,801,667 and a dead cap value of $2,551,667. So, um, but I don't know. But I don't know if he's got a. I don't know if that potential out, as they put on here, is an option year, or they're just saying that in case he retires. And I'm just reading too much into this, but it is very possible he retires. That turns into a cap hit for the Chiefs. Um, um, Travis did say, "I think I can play. It's just whether or not I'm motivated, or it's the best decision for me as a man, as a human, as a person to take on all that responsibility." He's also said he's kicking every can he can down the road, and thinking whether to keep playing was kind of driving him crazy during the season. So he might have a reason why he, you know, didn't may not have lived the expectations or whatever. Um, so I don't know if that, and I probably shouldn't have looked up his contract because I don't know what that out means in the contract, if it's an option or they're just saying, well, in case he retires or anything like that. So, but either way, Travis Kelsey is looking at possibly retiring, and it looks like it almost sounds like the same thing as Jason Kelsey last year. And I think I think if he really wanted to, he can consult with his brother and say, "Hey, what were you thinking?" All that, and and Jason Kelsey said that he had all kinds of injuries all year long, and even now after he still has issues, but um, but you do have um, but you do have and considering you're 35 years old, you do have to make that decision, and he does have to consider um, does have to make a decision soon. He's got about a month to do so. So we'll see what his decision is by next month. And I'm sure he's probably going to be consulting with the team. It's like, well, I'm thinking about it, blah blah blah. But as long as once the new year, the new NFL calendar year starts, then he's really on the clock. So now, with the fact that the Eagles did win the Super Bowl, they will get the honor for the second time of hosting the opening Thursday night game of the season. Now, one thing I said to Mike ahead of time was that there is a slight problem with the complex. Now, the setup at the South Philly complex is basically the same as the Kansas City Chiefs. And what I mean by that is the one stadium is right across the street from the other. In Kansas City's case, I believe it's the parking lot. So you do have um, you do have some issues that are going to be in play here. I'm just trying to see one thing here. I probably should have just did the printout. So just checking one thing here, because the one thing is when you have issues like this, you know, the two teams are going to do whatever they can to the Phillies are going to do whatever they can to accommodate the Eagles. I did a quick search here. Phillies and Mets play June 20th to the 22nd in Philadelphia. Now, the only reason why I am saying that is um, the Phillies have an off day June 23rd. When September comes around, there's a 4-game series in September. And this is going to lead to my point, trust me. It's just a matter of giving you a background here. The Phillies and the Mets have a 4-game series September 8th to 11th. Now, in June, that 3-game series from June 20th to the 22nd, the Phillies and the Mets have a 3-game series. Phillies have a day off. However, the Mets are in Atlanta that night, or the next night, June 23rd. So there is a lot of scheduling that they have to tinker with between now and September, or now and May, because the Eagles are going to do all they can to host that Thursday night game. They're not going to do what Baltimore did, which is the Orioles said, we're not moving our game. And that forced Baltimore on the road that year that Peyton Manning threw for 7 touchdowns on opening night in Denver when Baltimore should have been the home team. So, but in September the 11th, there could be an out here. Now they have a 7:15 game on September. Wait a second. Never mind. I got to give myself one of those because I was saying this for about a week and a half now. Oh, the Phillies are at home. Let me give myself one of those. Everything I've been doing, this 2-minute look, is all null and void because guess what? The first game would be September 4th because Labor Day is September 1st this year. So there is no conflict now between the Phillies and the Eagles. So September 4th, the Eagles will be at home. And now the talk in Philadelphia, once the parade is over, is who are we going to play? Now, I am pulling up the Eagles' 2025 opponents. And this is on fbschedules.com. And I think this is accurate. So Eagles have 8 home games this year because they rotate that. You have 8 games. Last year they had 9 games at home, 8 on the road, and that 9th game was that Brazil game. Eagles have 8 games at home. They have the NFC East, Dallas, New York, and Washington. Chicago and Detroit from the NFC North. Denver and the Raiders from the AFC West. And you have the Los Angeles Rams. Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Lions today on his podcast said he wants to play the Eagles on opening night. The Eagles the Lions did not have an opportunity to play the Eagles last season because Detroit won the division. Eagles did not, so that matchup versus teams that finished first in your other divisions, that didn't happen. Philadelphia held its end of the bargain by playing in the NFC Championship game, whereas Detroit lost to the Washington Commanders in the divisional round, as we all know. Eagles won the Super Bowl, as we know. The Lions shit the bed. Well, their defense shit the bed. Now, there's an opportunity for the Lions to see how good they are against the Eagles as Detroit plays in Philadelphia next season, as I mentioned. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Lions wide receiver, wants Philadelphia on opening night. The Eagles host a kickoff game since they are the defending Super Bowl champions. And if I can quote Bruce Buffer, the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions. Um, Eagles have the home opener next year because they won the Super Bowl. And he goes to his brothers Equiminius and Osiris. Can I read you the list of teams that could be in that first game? And he gives all 8 teams: Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, Bears, Lions, Raiders, Rams, Broncos. Of all the teams, out of all the teams, if you're the NFL, who are you putting in there? St. Brown's brothers, which probably because his brother plays, because Amon-Ra plays for the Rams. Um, um, Amon-Ra said, "That's what I'm saying. We might be playing opening night. We could see what our healthy defense, how that shit operates." And as we know, they had all kinds of injuries, especially on the defense. They started 30 different players last year. They allowed 32.5 points per game and 7.4 yards per play in December. Most yards per play allowed by any team in December in Super Bowl era. They allowed just 16.4 points per game in September through November and missed 5 week 1 starters in their playoff opener. St. Brown does have a point about the team's defense, but the Eagles also had 95 points in the last 2 games. Most combined points between a conference championship game and a Super Bowl in playoff history. And but the Eagles did their job. The Lions didn't. The battle between the 2 of the conference powers will be one to watch in 2005, no matter when they play. Now, you think that's going to be the matchup. Whether it is or not, we'll see. But I think that's a no-brainer that you put those 2 teams because you want to maximize ratings for that opening night. And I think the hangovers that most Eagles fans have from the Super Bowl may just wear off in time for that game in September. So, and I also stand corrected. The season starts on September 4th, not September 11th. So I'm a dope. Mike already knows it. And I finally caught my error, but I had to pull up a calendar in order to see it. But basically what that means is the Eagles are going to be home week 1 and on the road week 2 because they usually go 2 weeks. Eagles have of the first 4 weeks of the seasons, the Eagles have 2 weeks, the Phillies have 2 weekends. So we'll see what happens with everything there. But we do have the Eagles as reigning champions. They get the honor of starting the season. And we have breaking news on the MLB wire. And, I do have it on here. Alex Bregman is a free agent no more. According to The Athletic, he has signed a 3-year, $120 million deal with, no, not the Dodgers. It's a 3-year, $120 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. So, sources told ESPN's Jesse Rogers, and the deal will have 2 opt-outs. So he could opt out after the first year if the team really plays like shit, and he can opt out after 2 years. So Um, I'm sure that there's more to come on this story, but Alex Bregman is a free agent, no more. And Boston finally signs a big name free agent, I believe. That's the first one. So, so that is going to be it here for this Wednesday night. Tomorrow we'll be live at 9 o'clock sharp, or by the latest, like 9:05. But we'll be on, and we will go through a couple of stories here, some talks there. Big thanks to JST. I don't know how you pronounce that, but I imagine it's just killer. I don't know, but JST is a Chiefs fan, and he had, you know, doesn't like Taylor Swift either, but he did have some interesting questions there, and I'm glad he brought them. And anytime you want to come on the show and ask, watch the show and ask me questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. So, um, but they had some great points there, and Mike for being here, Brendan for being here, and everybody that's watching on YouTube and on X as well. So, and as you can see, Mike, there's the new hat, Philly Fanatic hat, but it's the what's supposed to be green there is actually white there. So, not complaining, but but that's going to be it for now. And I do appreciate everybody for watching and listening. And um, I'll be live tomorrow. We're probably going to do a Philly fade, but I don't know what I'm going to do or I might just have to delay it a week because I think this is the last night of. Um, I think this is the last night of the NBA before the All Star break. Oh no, there's a couple of games tomorrow. Okay. Um, okay, yeah. So there's no games Friday and Saturday. There's no hockey. Let me just see one thing here. By the way, Villanova upset St. John's tonight, 73-71. There's a couple of there is a couple of college basketball games. Maybe I do that. I don't know. We'll see. Or we may just table the Philly fade for a week because there's no pro basketball, no hockey, uh, and obviously no football since the season is over. So that's going to be it for now. I do appreciate everybody for joining me here tonight. We'll do it live again in about 22 hours, and we'll do it again, and I will work on those audios so I can get the audio onlys out. So I do appreciate everybody, and I will see you in the winner's circle, and hope everybody has a great night. And I will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Good night, everybody.